Hello and welcome back to Slow English. I am really happy you are here today. Before we start, I want to ask you something. Think about a decision you made in the past. Maybe it was a small decision like choosing what to eat for dinner. Or maybe it was a big decision like changing your job, ending a relationship, or moving to a new city. Now ask yourself this. Do you feel okay about that decision, or do you sometimes think, I should have chosen differently? That feeling, that uncomfortable feeling after making a wrong choice, has a name. We call it regret. And today we are going to talk about the science of making decisions without regret. This is not a motivational video. This is real science. Researchers and psychologists have studied this topic for many years, and they have found some very interesting things. So let us begin. Part 1. What is regret? Why do we feel it? First, let us understand what regret really is. Regret is a negative emotion. It is the feeling that you made a wrong choice and that another choice would have been better. For example, you are in a restaurant. You order the pasta, but then your friend orders the pizza, and it looks delicious. Suddenly you think, I should have ordered the pizza. That is regret. But regret is not always about food. Sometimes it is about very important things. I should have studied harder. I should have told that person how I felt. I should have taken that job opportunity. Regret can be small and temporary, or it can be deep and long-lasting. But here's the interesting question. Why do humans feel regret at all? Scientists think regret actually has a purpose. It is a learning signal. When we feel regret, our brain is saying, remember this. Next time, choose differently. So regret is not just a bad feeling, it is also a teacher. But the problem is many people feel too much regret. And that can be very harmful for your mental health, your confidence, and your happiness. So the goal is not to never feel regret. The goal is to make decisions in a way that minimizes unnecessary regret, and science can help us do that. Part 2. The 2 types of regret. Researchers have discovered something very important. There are actually 2 types of regret. The first type is called regret of action. This is when you did something and you wish you had not done it. For example, you spent a lot of money on something and later you realized it was a bad idea. You acted and you regret that action. The second type is called regret of inaction. This is when you did not do something and you wish you had done it. For example, there was a wonderful person you wanted to talk to, but you were too nervous. You said nothing. And now you never see that person again. You wish you had acted. Now here's the fascinating thing. In the short term, people regret their actions more. If you do something and it goes wrong, you feel bad very quickly. But in the long term, after months, years, or even decades, people regret their inactions more. A famous study by psychologist Thomas Gilovich showed this clearly. When people look back at their lives, they say things like, I wish I had started my own business. I wish I had traveled more when I was young. I wish I had told my father that I loved him before he died. These are all inactions, things people did not do. So what does this mean for us? It means that not deciding is also a decision. And often it is the decision we regret the most. Part 3. Why is it so hard to make decisions, okay? Now we know what regret is, and we know that inaction can be very dangerous. But why is making decisions so difficult? There are several reasons. Let us look at the three most important ones. Reason number one, too many options. In the past, people had fewer choices. Today, we have thousands of options for almost everything. Jobs, partners, cities to live in, things to buy, courses to study. Psychologist Barry Schwartz calls this the paradox of choice. He says that more options do not always make us happier. In fact, more options often make us more anxious and less satisfied. When we have 10 options, we wonder if we made the right choice. We think, what about the other 9? Were they better? This comparison makes us feel worse, even when our choice was actually good. Reason number 2, fear of making mistakes. Many people are afraid to decide because they do not want to be wrong. They want to find the perfect choice. But here's the truth. The perfect choice almost never exists. This fear of making mistakes keeps people stuck. They wait and wait and wait, and then they miss the opportunity completely. Reason number 3, loss aversion. This is a concept from behavioral economics. Researchers Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky discovered that humans feel the pain of losing something much more strongly than the pleasure of gaining something. For example, losing 50 euros feels much worse than gaining 50 euros feels good. This means that when we have to choose, we are often more afraid of losing what we have than we are excited about what we could gain. And this fear makes it hard to move forward. Part 4. What science recommends. 5 strategies to decide without regret. Now comes the most useful part. What can we actually do to make better decisions and feel less regret? Scientists and psychologists have identified several powerful strategies. Here are 5 of the most important ones. Strategy 1. Clarify your values first. Before you decide anything important, ask yourself, what do I truly value in life? Many people feel regret because they made a decision based on what others expected from them, their parents, their friends, their society. But deep inside, that choice did not match their true values. When your decisions are aligned with your personal values, you feel less regret, even if things do not go perfectly. Take time to write down what is most important to you. Is it freedom, security, family, adventure, creativity, health? When you know your values, your decisions become clearer. Strategy 2. Use the 10-10-10 method. This is a very simple and effective technique created by Susie Welch, a business writer. When you have to make a decision, ask yourself these 3 questions. How will I feel about this decision in 10 minutes? How will I feel about this decision in 10 months? How will I feel about this decision in 10 years? This technique helps you to stop focusing only on the short term. It pushes you to think about the future and to consider the long-term consequences of both action and inaction. Many decisions that feel scary in the short term actually become very positive in the long term, and this technique helps you to see that. Strategy 3. Limit your options intentionally. Remember the paradox of choice? Too many options make us more anxious and less happy. So scientists recommend something surprising. Deliberately limit your options. Instead of comparing 20 possibilities, choose only the top 3 or 4. Then decide among those. Research shows that people who limit their options are more satisfied with their final choice because they spend less time wondering, what if? Strategy 4. Accept that no decision is perfect. This is very important for your mental health. Every significant decision involves trade-offs. A trade-off means that when you choose one thing, you give up something else. If you choose to live in a big city, you gain opportunities, but you lose peace and nature. If you choose to stay in a small town, you gain community and calm, but you lose some career options. There is no perfect choice. Every path has advantages and disadvantages. When you truly accept this, you stop looking for the impossible perfect option, and you stop feeling so much regret about the things you gave up. Psychologists call this accepting trade-offs, and it is one of the most powerful ways to reduce regret. Strategy 5. Practice prospective hindsight. This is a technique developed by psychologist Gary Klein, and it has a fascinating name: pre-mortem analysis. Here's how it works. Before you make an important decision, imagine that you already made that decision, and it failed completely. Now ask yourself, why did it fail? What went wrong? This might sound very negative, but research shows that this technique actually helps people make better decisions because it helps them identify potential problems before they happen. When you can see the risks clearly in advance, you can either fix them or decide that the risk is acceptable. Either way, you feel more prepared and more confident. And when you feel more confident about your decision process, you feel less regret about the outcome, even if things do not go as planned. Part 5. The role of self-compassion. Now, I want to talk about something that science considers very, very important, but that many people ignore. It is called self-compassion. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would give to a good friend. When your friend makes a mistake, what do you say? You probably say, "It is okay. You did your best. You can learn from this." But what do you say to yourself when you make a mistake? Many people say terrible things to themselves. "I am so stupid. I always make the wrong choice. I will never get it right." This kind of thinking, researchers call it self-criticism, actually makes regret much worse. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of negativity. Dr. Kristen Neff, a researcher at the University of Texas, has studied self-compassion for many years. She found that people who practice self-compassion actually learn more from their mistakes because they are not paralyzed by shame and self-blame. Self-compassion does not mean you do not care about your choices. It means that you are human, and all humans make imperfect decisions sometimes. When you can look at a past decision and say, "I made the best choice I could with the information I had at that time," that is self-compassion. And it is one of the most powerful tools against regret. Part 6. A beautiful idea. The regret minimization framework. I want to finish today's episode with a beautiful idea from a very famous person. His name is Jeff Bezos. He is the founder of Amazon, one of the biggest companies in the world. When Bezos was young, he had a very stable and well-paid job on Wall Street, but he had an idea. He wanted to create an online bookstore. This was in 1994 when the internet was still very new and very risky. Many people told him he was making a mistake. They said, "You have a great job. Why risk everything?" Bezos used a framework to decide. He called it the regret minimization framework. He asked himself, when I'm 80 years old and I look back at my life, will I regret trying this idea? His answer was no, I would not regret trying, but I would definitely regret not trying. So he left his job and started Amazon. Now, of course, most of us are not Jeff Bezos, and most of our decisions are not as dramatic as starting a billion-dollar company. But the principle is the same. Ask yourself, when I am old and I look back at this moment, which choice will I regret more? Doing it or not doing it? This question can bring incredible clarity. Conclusion. Okay, let us review what we learned today. Regret is a normal human emotion. It exists to help us learn. There are two types of regret: regret of action and regret of inaction. In the long term, most people regret the things they did not do. Decisions are hard because of too many options, fear of mistakes, and loss aversion. But science gives us powerful strategies. Clarify your values. Use the 10-10-10 method. Limit your options. Accept trade-offs. And practice pre-mortem analysis. And perhaps most importantly, practice self-compassion. You are human. You will never make perfect decisions. But you can make thoughtful decisions, and you can treat yourself with kindness when things do not go as planned. Life is not about making zero mistakes. Life is about growing through the decisions you make. So go out there, be brave, make your choices, and live without regret. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Slow English. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend who is also learning English. And remember, every day is a new opportunity to make a good decision. See you in the next episode. Bye for now.